One of the most embarrassing things about a guy is when he knows way too much about a sport but can't even articulate his own emotions. This video is dedicated to the sport nerds. Now, some of you will be wondering, why am I coming out so harsh on these guys? Well, believe it or not, at one point in my life, I was a sport nerd where I knew way too much about not only one sport like the NBA, include the NFL, the NHL, MLB, all the European soccer leagues. I knew the stats, the free agents, transfers, rookies, the drama, the GMs, whatever you can think of. My lame ass was on top of it. And to be quite honest, when I was a sport nerd, it wasn't because I was so passionate about all these different sports. It was something deeper, in a sense where I was afraid to face the pain of life, and it was easier for me to find an outlet in sports to ignore it. Now, when I see other sport nerds in life, I see some similarities where they're not focused on their own lives, they're not focused on themselves, yet they put so much emphasis and emotional investment in sports. And again, not to be too harsh, but it's just pathetic. And there's no other way to explain it. When you're so focused on what other people are doing in their lives, their achievements, their drama, their obstacles, and you neglect your own, I don't know. It's quite embarrassing. If I had to be the dumbed down version of Socrates, this is what I would say. Know thyself, not know thy sports. Hopefully you survived that cringe, but you get the point. It is a waste of time to worry about what other people are doing in their own professions, and you don't take any time for your own. And when I say take time for your own, guys, honestly, it comes down to this: understanding yourself, understanding your emotions, taking a good look at yourself and where you are at life. Because honestly, half the battle is just self-awareness. Once you're aware of your issues and once you're willing to take the pill of self-honesty, that's the first step to making a change. Yet with sport nerds, they tend to ignore that first step and worry about what's going on in the sports world. It's very frustrating because I've met so many guys with so much potential, yet they cap themselves off without even realizing it. Now, not to get all too philosophical and corny, but in the West, the modern day West, we have the privilege to really create ourselves into whoever we want to be. Like, for example, we can become the dumbed down version of James Bond. I am dead serious. That is actually achievable, where say you know how to do MMA, you know how to be social, you have drive and focus, like being an amazing, well-rounded person who's the dumbed down version of James Bond. You can achieve that. Yet so many people waste their time focusing on pointless things. Speaking of James Bond, do you think James Bond would be caring about sports, caring about the stats, the drama and all that? Realistically, no, that's not gonna happen. And it makes sense because anybody who wants to make something of their lives focuses on themselves and what they can achieve. For example, let me bring up this Greek saying from this famous Greek warrior and politician and womanizer, Themistocles. Being asked whether he would rather have been Achilles or Homer, he said, "How about you yourself? Would you rather be the victor at the Olympic Games or the announcer of the victor?" When I was brainstorming this video, this quote popped up because it's true. In your life, Would you rather be the victor of your own personal Olympic Games or the announcer of the victor? And sport nerds, they're basically the announcer of the victors. And it's just like, it's sad. And don't get me wrong, listen, keeping up with sports is fun. It is, I'm not gonna lie. However, just like with anything in life, it's all about moderation. Sports should be a secondary thing in your life, where in fact the primary things in your life should be creating meaningful friendships, being social, having meaningful hobbies, having a personal mission, just creating a worthwhile life. That should be the focus. But say you're at the bar just having a conversation, you can shoot this shit and talk about sports. That's totally fine. But you shouldn't be a dork that knows way too much. All right, again, guys, I can say all this because I was that dork. I was that dork that knew way too much about sports, and in reality, my life was empty. It honestly was. And when I kind of got my shit together, going through therapy and working on myself, I naturally just stopped paying attention to a lot of sports. In fact, the only sports I really pay attention to are MMA, boxing, and the NBA. But even then, I can only name a handful of fighters or players, and I could care less what the stats are. If I want to watch a game or a fight with a friend, it's fun to do. That's it. Again, making it a secondary level in my life. And not to be, I guess, a Debbie Downer or whatnot, but you have to remember that you are going to die one day. That's just a fact. And you have to really ask yourself, putting all this energy and emotional investments into sports and players that will never care about you, is that worth it over creating something worthwhile in your life? Honestly, the answer is obviously no, but for whatever reason, that's not the case for many people. Like, listen, creating a genuine great life is hard. It's hard. There's pain, there's rejection, there's disappointment and failure. Yet, despite all that, when you are persistent and devoted, you will get so much more out of life. And I guess not to get too corny, all these players that you follow and whatnot, they go through the same thing. So again, why are you choosing to be the announcer of the victor and not be the champion of your own life? It's something we have to ask ourselves, because I'm telling you guys, it doesn't take that much to create a genuine life. It doesn't. Now it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, with the fact that you have to go through pain and all that. But things, when you go through those phases, when you look back, you're going to realize it wasn't that bad, so that you can continually push forward. So again, this is for all the sports nerds. I'm imploring you just to maybe put sports on the back burner and focus on the things that matter in your life. Because again, there's going to be one day when you're going to close your eyes and they're never going to open again. So you have to be conscious of the type of decisions you make for yourself and the type of life you make for yourself too. All right. So anyways, this video is a bit too long, and this is just a rant of a middle-aged millennial. But again, thank you guys again for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter. And guys, remember, you're not just any type of nerd. You're a charismatic nerd.